Hello and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor.
And today we're going to talk about Carrie, and we have a very, very special guest, my friend, Kara, my supporter, a listener even of our podcast. Welcome, Kara.
Thank you for having me.
And hey, go jump over to YouTube and take a look because she's Carrie. She's just as Carrie.
She is dressed as Carrie, yes.
Yeah.
In the spirit.
I am dripping in fake pig blood.
That's commitment.
Definitely go take a look. Yeah. So Kara and I met in college. We've been friends for a long time. And so I love her to death. And she was like one of our first listeners. And I was like immediately thinking about when we could have you on the podcast and talk about a movie. And it took us a little bit, but here we are. And we're going to talk about your favorite movie, right?
Yeah. I mean, favorite Stephen King. I am obsessed with Carrie, but we'll go into that later.
Okay.
And if I can mention, this is the first episode for our November Friendsgiving theme. So welcome, first friend, first listener. We're excited to have you.
First bro.
Yes.
Yes. My bro ham.
My bromigo.
My Bropraham Winfrey. Brobot.
Bro Chacho.
Shit. I'm out of them. What was Abraham Lincoln. That was it.
I think you got like Oprah and Abraham Lincoln mixed together.
Mixed up. You're right. I fucked it up. So we're bros, obviously.
This has been apparent. This is now fully apparent.
Okay, I don't know, Felicia, if you want to kick it off the questions, if you want me.
Fuck yeah, I'll do it. Hi, Kara. It's wonderful to meet you in person. Something we would love to know is, what is your favorite horror or scary movie?
I have so many.
Yeah. You can give us more than one.
They're in subcategories.
Okay.
But I guess I'll do the ones that I can watch over and over and not get sick of.
Yeah.
I recently watched It Follows, which I had never seen it before. Could not believe I missed out on it. It's amazing.
I am shocked you hadn't seen it until now.
I know. I was like, I like horror movies, but if it looks weird, I'm not going to watch it. Or if it looks boring, or I already know the ending from the trailer, then I don't.
I get that.
Okay.
But it surprised me and I liked it, so I would watch it again.
I haven't seen that one. That's exciting. Okay.
And then, of course, Carrie. I can watch Carrie over and over. It's like my sick movie day. It's a movie I can fall asleep in the middle and then wake up and be like, oh no, I need to go back. And then like I love a bunch of like foreign films. So I've seen lots of different like mostly Korean horror films. And yeah, I just like horror pretty much. But Carrie is like my number one.
That's awesome. Okay. Oh, so happy to have you on for your number one. Do you have like a favorite subgenre? Or favorite subgenre that you like?
I don't know, because I used to be the horror comedy type. Mm-hmm. But then I think after watching too many like scary movies, like that franchise, I was over it really quick.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think more realistic ones, like not so much supernatural, more like slasher flicks or flicks are like my favorite.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, like murderers, more real versus so you don't believe in the supernatural.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I just that into my life.
That makes sense. I still see that chick from The Grudge in the dark corners. I know I always mention this, but it happened last night. So I can't stop it.
Do you remember like your first, like how to, like, because, you know, as long as I've known you, I've known that you also like horror. But like, I don't know if we've ever talked about your first like introduction to the genre or anything like that. Like, how did you come to it?
So I will say this. I loved my parents at one point, but no, when I was like really young, my parents didn't shield me from the movies, like unless it was sexual. That was the only time they'd cover my eyes. But murder, they were okay with. So
No sex, just murder.
just murder.
That's very common.
Yeah. So I remember like Chucky, like Child's Play one, that scared the crap out of me when I was a baby. But they were like, oh yeah, Killer Doll, you can watch that. I'm like 5 years old.
No
it's
sex.
not appropriate for me. But yeah, I remember watching those movies and they would scare me. And I really didn't want to touch any horror movies. But I think when I was around like 11 or 12, I saw Urban Legend. And for some reason, I think because it was like a psychological kind of twist at the end and it's a serial killer, I really got into it. And yeah, ever since then, I was like, oh, horror movies.
That's where it's at.
She's my homie Licious. My homie Licious Winfrey or whatever. Because I like the same type of movies.
I haven't seen that movie. Have you seen it, Felicia?
No, but I like psychological horror.
I was just curious because it's like the third time it's come up for me this week. Like that somebody's mentioned something about Urban Legends and I Urban Legend and I haven't seen it.
I don't think I have.
Mm-mm.
Maybe.
It's pretty good. I recommend it.
When I start to get weird, it's because I'm weird and quiet. It's because I'm looking at oh, shoot. I might have seen, oh, fuck. No. Okay.
Okay. I'm
There was
intrigued
something
now.
I saw that I was, ooh, now I'm going to see her. Damn it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to watch this. That was enough of a sell for me.
Just that reaction.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Anything recently that you've been watching that you've been liking that you want to shout out or anything?
So I finally got on the Shudder bus and I have a Shudder subscription now.
Nice.
I started watching their series called Cursed Films.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really like the Exorcist one. I mean, I've only seen the first 2 episodes. Didn't really like the Exorcist one because I thought they'd go more in depth with it. But the Omen one got a little better, so I guess I'll continue the series, but I'm not sure if I love it.
Yeah, you should check out, continue the series. Isn't the last one, oh God. The last one is, shit, I forget. The last one was intense.
The Twilight Zone one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just floored with that one.
That one was fucking crazy.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. And just from a like production standpoint, Kara, I think you're going to appreciate how fucking crazy it is that insane negligence.
Insane.
Like,
I'm just repeating everything Tawny says, but it's true. Just imagine me repeating it is putting her words in bold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that. I do that too. Okay. So Cursed Films, you're not sure about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see how I like it. But I do like Shudder as an app because now I can finally just watch the one genre I want to watch.
Yes, totally. Yes.
If I can recommend another app, Peacock has so many. Like, it had all the Chuckies. That's why I was able to just binge watch Chucky.
Except for the first one.
Except for the first one, yeah. But you know what it did have? I always forget to check the Peacock. And my daughter, she wasn't feeling well last week. And so we binged watched Harry Potter. We paid for all of them. And at the end, I checked Peacock. And they're all there in the beautiful Harry Potter collection. Damn it.
That sucks.
They're also on HBO Max. Just FYI.
Oh, yeah, HBO Max. I don't know if I have HBO Max. Probably. I sign up for everything. I do the whole thing where I want to watch this movie. I'll sign up for the free trial so I can watch the movie and then never cancel it. That's what I do.
I just was reading an AMA on Reddit, actually, from the president, maybe, of Shudder. And it was really interesting. I bet you could find it if you wanted to read through it. He was like just talking to people about Shudder and their plans and how, it's cool that they brought horror hosts back. Like, what's that guy's name? Joe Bob. I don't actually know who that is. Like, I'm not familiar with his history, but they're doing like a drive-in series with him and then Elvira. I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah, I saw Elvira. What about you, Tawny? You see anything?
The only thing I'm watching right now is Squid Game. And I have one episode left. I'm so excited. Okay.
Ojingo game.
What?
Ojingo, that's squid in Korean.
Oh.
So when it says Squid Game in English, in Korean it's like Ojingo.
Ojingo.
I want to know something, Kara, because I read something about this and I just need to know. I assume you finished it.
Of course.
And I don't want you to spoil anything for me.
Yeah, we have one episode left.
But I read something that said the translation like really fucks something up. Is that true? Or do you think we can get the gist?
I mean, you're on the last episode, so you've probably already seen it. It's more of a cultural thing. So unless you like know Korean or like watch a lot of Korean stuff, it's hard for people to catch. But I think they did an okay job. It's just hard to explain unless you know the language.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the thing I saw said like it completely fucks up the meaning of the show. And I was like, that seems extreme. I feel like you could connect the dots enough, like use context clues to know like what's happening, that it wouldn't completely undermine the message of the show. But I don't know what, and I haven't read it because I don't want to ruin anything for myself. Anyway, it's a great show. I really like it so far. And I see why everybody else fucking loves it.
Yeah, I'm gonna, that was my thing. I'm on the last episode of Squid Game. We just watched that. I really enjoyed it. I loved Alice in Borderland. Thank you very much for correcting me on Instagram. Whatever, Kara. I'm just kidding. I really did appreciate it. I loved it. And so then I was all worried that I wasn't going to like Squid Game because my daughter was like, fuck Squid Game. This is the Alice in Borderland's the way to go. And but I loved them. I loved them both. They're different enough that you could watch and enjoy them both fully, in my opinion. So why don't you all tell me what you're drinking?
Oh, yes. I'm drinking bourbon, just as usual. What about you, Kara?
Are you like straight bourbon?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I mean, I put some ice cubes in here. They've just melted.
Next step is no ice cubes, girl. Neat. Gotta drink that
Felicia
neat.
does it.
Yeah. Gotta drink a neat.
I'm not ready for that.
No, I'm a pansy. So I made my whiskey and cherry juice.
Ooh, that sounds good.
But it's like this much whiskey and like this much cherry juice.
If you can see her cup, she put like 5 drops of whiskey.
Listen, that's all I had.
Okay, fair enough.
But I do live in Colorado, so wink, wink. So I'm still doing fine over here.
That's awesome. I made a dirty martini. I used that Crystal Head vodka. They have a really cool bottle out for Pride Week where it's a rainbow skull. It's
neat.
Super cool. We're saving the skulls, the crystal skulls. We're going to do something with it. I don't know what. And I have a blue cheese stuffed olive, roasted pepper olive, and a garlic olive. That's what we got. I got these cool little metal things, like a fancy...
olive sticker?
I literally just feel like one of those women in the movies where they're the alcoholic mom that drinks martinis all the time. But I don't drink martinis all the time. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just saying. With my fancy martinis.
I'm just saying. I'm really fancy.
I'm just saying. I'm super fancy.
I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Right. That's what you're trying to say.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm literally thinking of those moms like in... the first thing that comes to mind is Wedding Crashers. That mom with the martini have you seen Wedding Crashers?
It's been a long time though. I'm sorry.
All the moms with martinis are train wrecks.
Okay.
Just forget it. Just edit this part out.
I'm sorry.
is a joke anyway.
We'll fix it in post.
It didn't land right.
I just don't remember. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Are we ready to jump into it?
Yes.
Okay. So we are talking about Carrie, the original, obviously, from 1976. The director was Brian De Palma, who did a lot of shit, but I only pulled out a handful of things that I knew of. Scarface, The Fury, Dressed to Kill, The Untouchables, and The Black Dahlia. Not a comprehensive list.
Wow.
Okay, for cast, we've got Sissy Spacek plays Carrie. Piper Laurie plays Margaret White. Amy Irving plays Sue Snell. William Catt plays Tommy Ross. John Travolta. We got some big cast this time.
Mm-hmm.
John Travolta plays Billy Nolan. Nancy Allen plays Chris Hargensen, our main female bully. And Betty Buckley plays Miss Collins.
Mr. Harden in the book.
Oh, right. Yes. I got confused actually for a second because I did watch the remake after the original just to like refresh because I had seen both of these before. I just wanted to know like again what the differences were. And they went back to the original name. So I was like, shit, did I pull the wrong person? No, it was Miss Collins in the original.
And it's funny too. So I just read the book for the first time. So it is Mr. Harden in the book and in the remake, but they changed it to Miss Collins in the movie. And then in the musical, the stage production, she is Miss Gardner. So they literally changed her name twice.
Weird.
That's interesting.
Is it just because it's hard to pronounce? I mean, I think that's what it was for the movie, but is that what it was for the play too?
I think for the musical, because the musical set in 2012, so it's like a modern day Carrie. So I think it was just more like Miss Gardner is like a more like recognizable last name.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Than Mr. Harden, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. I can't speak for the playwright.
Okay. Okay, so the budget on this was $1.8 million. Box office was $33.8 million. Did very well. IMDb gave this a 7.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 93%. And 88% of Google users liked this movie. Any other thoughts before I roll into 2 minutes with Tawny, which is I just copied and pasted the Wikipedia plot summary today because I just didn't have the brain to do it.
No, we're ready for you.
Okay.
It's my favorite part.
I haven't read through this yet, so just bear with me. It's kind of long. Okay. Shy 16-year-old Carrie White, who lives with her fanatically religious mother, Margaret, Felicia loves this, is unpopular at school and often bullied by her peers. When Carrie experiences her first period in the school shower, she panics, having never been told about this process. Carrie's classmates humiliate her by throwing tampons at her while chanting, "Plug it up, plug it up," until the gym teacher, Miss Collins, intervenes. Following conversations with Miss Collins and the principal, Carrie is dismissed from school for the day. After arriving home, Margaret tells Carrie that her menstruation was caused by sin, and she locks Carrie in an altar-like prayer closet to pray for forgiveness. At school, Collins reprimands Carrie's tormentors, punishing them with a week-long detention during gym class. She threatens that those who skip the punitive measure will be suspended for 3 days and barred from the upcoming prom. However, Carrie's longtime bully, the wealthy and popular Christine, but she goes by Chris, Hargensen, walks out. Plotting vengeance against Carrie, Chris and her boyfriend Billy Nolan break into a local farm and kill pigs to drain their blood into a bucket, which they place above the school's main stage in the gymnasium. Side note here, advanced bullies. Advanced Stephen King bullies here.
Yeah, for sure.
Jade was watching it because I just had it on a second time, like just to watch in the background while he's eating. And he was like, what the fuck with these bullies? I'm like, I know. They're Stephen King bullies. You got to know.
There's some bad bullies out there, man.
Level 10 bullies.
Yeah.
Norma, Chris's best friend and prominent figure in the school's student council regime, plans to rig the prom queen election in Carrie's favor to get her on stage. Meanwhile, Sue Snell, a deeply remorseful classmate, asks her handsome and popular boyfriend, Tommy Ross, to invite Carrie to the prom. Carrie initially thinks that the proposition is a prank, but he insists that it is genuine, and she reluctantly accepts after Miss Collins consoles her. Back at home, she begins to discover that she has telekinesis as she shakes off her shyness. That's a weird sentence.
Let's get rid of this shyness.
Shake it off.
Just shake it off, girl.
Okay, sure. I'm going to keep going. Despite Margaret's protests, Carrie puts on a flattering dress and hairstyle for the prom. Margaret sees Carrie's telekinetic powers and denounces her as a witch after Carrie leaves with Tommy. During the prom, Chris and Billy hide under the stage while the other conspirators switch the ballots to ensure that Carrie wins the prom queen title. As Carrie stands on stage with Tommy, finally beginning to feel accepted by her peers, Sue arrives just in time and realizes Chris and Billy's plan. Miss Collins spots Sue and thinks she is up to no good and throws her out of the prom. Chris and Billy pull the rope attached to the bucket of pig blood and douse her, and promptly sneaked out of the school. The empty bucket hits Tommy in the head, knocking him unconscious. The crowd is left shocked and speechless at the prank. Carrie hallucinates that everyone is mocking her, and in a sudden outburst, she telekinetically seals the exits from the gym and controls a fire hose which injures several partygoers attempting to escape and sprays the overhead lights, setting the gym on fire. Miss Collins is crushed by a falling basketball backboard, and Carrie's principal and teacher are electrocuted. As Carrie walks home, Chris and Billy attempt to run her over with Billy's car, but Carrie senses their presence and causes their car to overturn and explode, killing them. After Carrie cleans herself up at home, Margaret reveals that Carrie was conceived by marital rape when her husband was drunk, an act that Margaret shamefully admits she enjoyed. Margaret comforts Carrie and then stabs her in the back with a kitchen knife and begins to chase her through the house. Carrie levitates several sharp implements and sends them flying towards Margaret, crucifying her. Carrie then destroys the house and consequently perishes. Sometime later, Sue, the only survivor of the prom, struggling to deal with the trauma she has experienced, has a nightmare in which she lays flowers on the charred remains of Carrie's home with a for sale sign vandalized in black paint with the phrase, "Carrie White burns in hell." Suddenly, Carrie's bloody arm reaches from beneath the rubble and grabs Sue's forearm. Sue wakes up screaming and her mother comforts her. The end. That was a 16 minutes with Tawny.
Again.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's kick it off with Kara, who obviously loves this movie. Tell us why.
Why not? No. So I was also a child that got bullied, not to this level. This was extreme, but I was bullied as a child. And so this was the first horror film I saw where like the revenge was against like bullies. Because I was really young when I watched this for the first time.
Do you remember how old you were?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Okay.
No,
We won't call Child Protective Services as a statute of limitations is over.
Right. I would want to say it was probably like 8 or 9. I was pretty young. But I was around that age when I was getting bullied. So I think it was like the first time. And I also grew up in a religious household, not fanatically, but like, slightly religious. So I could really put myself in Carrie's shoes. I'm like, oh, I can kind of see why she'd want to branch out, because religion kind of makes you feel like you have to be put in this box. And she was put in the literal box, the closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of themes like hit home with me. And I think that's why I really liked it. But also the fact that she just kills everybody at the end was just so satisfying.
Yeah.
Like after, she hears her mom's voice in her head, like, they're all going to laugh at you, and then she's just like, oh, well, I'm going to make them laugh now. Who's laughing now? And like, dead. Yes. Excellent.
Yes. Everybody's dead.
I came for blood and my vengeance will be filled. Like,
Yes. Felicia, overall, how did you feel about this movie?
I fucking love this movie. I fucking love it. I love it so hardcore. I just think that it really, there's definitely some, and it's not low budget. It's not low budget. Low budget is some of those things we've seen. There's some moments that feel a little low budget and some wonky moments with the music. But overall, like, I fucking love this movie. I love how it addressed sexuality and discovering yourself, the restrictions of really, really fanatical, say religious parents, bullies, and how shitty bullies are, and how bullying someone. I mean, it just showed so well how even though you can be beautiful or, whoever, the top cheerleader, whatever you are, how insecure you are to ever want to make someone feel so horrible, and how beautiful, like people who are different, how they're shunned and how they're bullied, but how there's really, an opportunity to like stop with, oh, that person's different from me or thinks different from me, so I'm gonna, push them away, and like give them a chance and get to know them. My favorite movie of all time across every single movie ever made is The Elephant Man. And it was for the exact same reason. These like beautiful people that don't have an opportunity because of all the fucking people that are insecure and scared of people who are different. And I thought it was fantastic. And I thought it was heartbreaking because she does kill everybody, but it's so sad because she kills people who really love her. And she leaves there thinking that no one was on her side. Yeah. And that wasn't the case. And I don't know what is happening. I fucking loved this movie. I even cried. So there we go. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Yes. Thank you for letting me share my obsession with it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Appreciate it.
We did go back and forth on a couple different options. And I was like, wait a minute, dude, we should just do your favorite. We should just do Carrie because it's your favorite. And like, that's what I want. I want people to be stoked to come on here and talk about the thing that they're the most stoked to talk about,
That's true.
Felicia, you've seen it though before, right?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I did. I remembered, what happens. But it was, I've seen it a long time ago. So.
Gotcha.
Didn't remember a lot, like, besides the storyline, of course. I read the book a long time ago, too.
Okay. But you just reread it, Kara, right? Is it short?
No, I read it for the first time.
Oh, read it. Okay.
Actually. Yeah. I'm a fast reader, I think. But I read it in like 3 days. Like a few hours here, a few hours there. But yeah, it's like a really good book.
Yeah. It's not like a short story. I think it's like a regular size novel, yeah?
Yeah. It's like, a decent amount. It's not a Harry Potter book, but,
Take me like probably 12 months. I'm like not very good at reading fast. Okay, so for me, I've seen this before also. I would say overall, I really liked this movie. The first time I watched it, I didn't really love it. And I think it's because I watched it really passively. Like it was one of those movies that I just put on and kind of half watched. I don't think I really gave it a chance. And I will say, just as some context for me, in the process of doing, and if you listen to this episode, you probably know a little bit about this. In the process of doing research for Child's Play, Don Mancini fucking loves this movie and Brian De Palma in general. And so now I've heard like a lot of conversations with Don talking about how awesome this movie is and why he like loves it. So it gave me a different perspective on it when I went back and watched it this time, like looking for those things that he really enjoyed. So I really liked it. I think the thing for me that I don't like is just some of that stuff that feels a little like low budget. Like some of the acting is like shaky. I'm like, what is with John Travolta in this movie? Can we all agree? This is like, what is he doing? What is this? Oh God. I mean, that's true.
Stupid shit.
He is a dumb shit. We know that. If we know anything, he's a dumb shit. But I do like the themes. I would say I love the themes. I didn't mean to undo that. I like all of the, the tension that's set and like what's going to happen because you just know what this story is. I think my mom told me what the story of Carrie was before I ever even watched it. So I knew it was going to happen. But you're still like on edge. It's very tense. I had like major anxiety watching this for some. I mean, I think that I was going to say for some reason. Obviously, I think they do a good job of building that and being intentional about it. But I didn't think that I would have that level of a reaction to it. Like I was like, my heart was beating faster and I was like actually experiencing like physical anxiety over it. So.
Yeah, because they especially did a really good job of just showing through the dramatics and everything, her like pure joy and excitement of her hopefully being accepted and starting to come out of her shell and being really courageous and brave and to take that risk to come out of her shell. And we fucking know what's going to happen. It was horrible.
I didn't remember, though, that these people like Sue and Tommy weren't in on it. Like I had forgotten. And the whole time I'm like back and forth. Are they in on it? Are they not in on it? Until she gets there to the prom and sees the rope. And I was like, oh no, she doesn't know. I mean, it's good, actually, that somebody is not a fucking complete asshole.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I think I knew that. I think they did a good job showing that. I thought that the girl Sue did a good job to where I didn't think she was in on it. Like I really did think that she was trying to, and Tommy was a fucking cool guy too.
Yeah.
Just like.
He did seem a little reluctant in the beginning, which I don't.
For sure. He wants to go with his girl.
Right.
To senior prom.
I think it makes sense. Yeah. That he's like, why would I do this? Why don't we just go?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I don't know where we want to jump in. Who's got just first bullet point?
I do not like Tommy in the movie.
Okay.
I thought he was a dick.
The blonde guy, right? Tommy?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll take Carrie White to prom. Like, I'm like, dude, like, do you love this girl? Do you still want to see this girl? Because she's asking you to do her a favor. So
I agree that I don't like the way he is in the beginning, but it does seem like he kind of gets on board. And even I'm like, what's with this sneak and a kiss over here, Tommy? Are you like, that was one thing that I was like, I can't really tell what's happening. I don't know if this is like a generous act, but it seems like he's like he actually likes her.
Yeah, swooning a little.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know what's happening here. But by the time we get there, I feel like he's like more of a nice guy. But I agree, Carrie, in the beginning, I was sort of like, okay, either do it or don't. Like, commit to it or don't. But he's like wishy-washy. I don't know.
I disagree. I think a teenage boy would be very wishy-washy. He wants to go to prom with his girl. He also wants to make her happy. I think the fact he's even considering it. Like, I don't think he wants to go with Carrie. Not anything against Carrie, because I think he also was kind in the class. Remember, she was saying something about it being beautiful, and he makes some smart-ass comment to the teacher because the teacher's humiliating her.
Yeah.
And I think that he's not like, oh, screw Carrie, gross, I don't want to go with her. But he doesn't really want it. He wants to go with his friends and his girlfriend. Who wouldn't? If like you were with, your people that you're with now and they're like, yeah, will you go with this guy? And you're like, okay, well, I don't want to make him feel bad, but what the fuck? This is my senior prom. So I think the fact that he's even considering it. And I thought there was a moment too, like when he's in the middle of PE doing his thing and he's going to be, he mentions like in the track finals or whatever. And she's like, can I talk to you? I need a favor. It's important. And he's like right in the middle of his class and his practice.
Yeah.
And he's like, sure. And he takes a walk with her. I thought he was a pretty cool guy.
Pretty nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I think I'm biased because reading the book, I liked him more in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love him in the musical. He's like way more well-rounded. He has dreams and like, yeah, he's a nice guy. He doesn't want to do it, but he will do it because his girlfriend asked him and he wants to make her happy.
Okay.
And also he wants to do a good thing too.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Right before we watched Misery, I reread the book and I actually had to stop partway through because the book was so much better. And I loved Misery, the movie, but not compared to the book. So
Right.
I did have that sort of thing going on too.
I think that's what made me question if they were in on it or not. There were like several moments where I was like, I can't tell if this guy is fighting it because he's actually a good guy and doesn't want to do this like fucked up prank, or if he just really doesn't want to go with her. You know, like I teetered back and forth on that. Like I was like, and so I think it was actually good in my opinion, because I like that push and pull all the way through the movie. Are they being really nice to her? That would be cool. And then you're like, well, I don't know. I think they're just going to fuck her up. Like, that's awful. And I like that until the very end. And then you realize, oh no, they're not in on it. It's these other assholes.
Yeah. I also liked Billy. I mean, I like John Travolta. He was just silly. And I don't even necessarily think he's a dumbass. He's just like, I think they're teenage boys. They're teenage boys. They don't really look like teenage boys.
No,
That's what's hard. But they're just teenage boys, and he has this hot girlfriend, and it's like whatever. And she's a fucking bitch, dude. Like, she is just wow. Just she's so beautiful and so incredibly insecure. To treat everybody like crap that she comes across and manipulate them. You know what I mean? But there were moments where I thought he was kind of over the top. But can I just say one thing? How is everybody just beating the shit out of each other and it's okay? The teacher's fucking smacking people around.
Yeah.
He's smacking her. Even at the end when there's just the scene is going crazy, and the PE teacher who I loved was there, and there was a girl freaking out. She grabbed her hair, like, she's like, get yourself together. I'm like, can you imagine if someone was beating the shit out of my kid at school? I mean, it depends. If she was acting like that, I wouldn't mind. But
yeah, the slap in the beginning, I was like, whoa, okay. Like when she slaps Carrie because she's panicking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to work, I guess. But I didn't write a note on it, so I don't have the specifics, but I read that was real. Like Brian De Palma wasn't getting the reaction he wanted out of Sissy Spacek, I think. And then, so she had to slap her like a bunch of times for real to get the take, which sucks. I wouldn't actually want to get slapped, but I was just like, I don't know. Okay, sure. But there is a lot of slapping, a lot of physical and crazy shit going on at this school that I was like, somebody be sued.
I think the 70s are just a different time. You were just allowed to beat the students.
Yeah. Even like when he's sitting in the car, right, and she calls him a dumb shit and he smacks her. It doesn't even phase her. And nowadays seeing that, you're like, whoa, this is abuse.
And he slaps her like 3 times.
Yeah, he's slapping around. She's like, oh, let's make love. And he's just like, not make love. It's not make love, but you know what I'm saying. And you're just like, okay, this is so like so crazy. Toxic relationship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just hated him. I don't think I like John Travolta to begin with. So that probably doesn't help. But I wrote like, what kind of weird fucking half accent marble mouth bullshit is this from John Travolta? Like, I'm barely understanding what he's saying. He's like pouring beer all over his mouth. Like, I'm like, okay, I get that he's supposed to be a teen boy, but come on. He just was. And then I'm telling you, half the time he had kind of a Texas, like a Southern accent. I'm like, what is happening? Apparently this is his first big role, which I mean, kind of makes sense because I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, maybe I was giving him credit because I do like John Travolta. So I was like, he's cute and young and silly and the accent's off, but he's just like this silly teen.
You're willing, to deal with it. And he is supposed to be a hateable character, I think, right? Like, so.
Oh, he is awful in the book. Like.
Oh, really?
But he is also smart in the book, so it's really weird seeing him in the movie and being a bumbling idiot. But in the book, he's more logical, but he's also just mean.
Okay.
That's a scarier combo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I like that.
I was just heartbroken. Let's just want to bring it back to the beginning where I thought it was a cool opening to where there was lots of, women and sexuality. They're comfortable with their bodies. They're comfortable being, just being free and with their bodies. And then there's the penis faucet. I don't know if that faucet, go back and look, was the penis.
Okay, did not pick up on this.
And then Carrie's like, there's the penis faucet and then the soap on her face. And like, but I'm assuming that might be the sin, but not that her mom knew that she was feeling maybe some sensual feelings while she was bathing, but maybe in Carrie's mind, maybe that's a sin and why she bled. It was so sad. I fucking love Sissy Spacek. I thought she was phenomenal. And just like, it just made me so sad. Like she's thinking she's dying or she's sick, and these horrible girls. Now, one girl, wasn't she from, she's from Halloween. I liked her way better in Halloween, but the one with the red hat all the time, that red hat and the little bangs. Dude, I just want to beat the shit out of all of those girls.
Yeah, what was her name? Norma?
Norma.
Norma with that fucking hat, too. She didn't even take it off at prom.
Dude. Go get your fucking hair done by a hairdresser.
That's why she's wearing the hat. She's trying to hide the fucked up bangs.
Why is everyone laughing at her? Fucking throwing tampons at her and her fucked up hair.
I was like, what is this signature look? Like, she's like, I have to wear this hat even to prom. But that's what it is. It's the bangs. She's got to hide them. She's got to hide them. They fucked them up. Baby bangs.
It's her comfort item. She cannot bear to be without.
Yeah. It's like, think like a teenager. She thinks she's cute. I got my red hat.
Yeah. These girls, I mean, are so brutal. Most of them. It's hard to watch. And I do think there is something very real about this moment, not being prepared for what is going to happen. You would fucking think you're going to die. You'd be like, whoa, what the fuck is happening?
You're bleeding internally.
Yeah.
You would be
I'm going to die.
Scared. Yeah. You would think something seriously was wrong.
Yeah. I didn't buy this shower scene only because I was a teenager who had to shower in front of other teenagers. And it is the most uncomfortable, scary, awful, everybody's trying to hide from each other situation, at least in my experience. It's like the worst part of high school. When I think back to it, I'm like, what a stressful ass class. Like and then for swimming, you had to get like half naked in front of a bunch of your fucking peers. Yep. I mean, God, talk about stress. That nobody was in that locker room like fucking around, joking, snapping each other with towels. Like, no.
Wait, you had swimming at your high school?
Did you not?
No, I had a very poor high school, apparently.
It was required, dude. We had to do it.
No, I mean, we had a gym, like, but they had showers, but they were like separated stalls with like awful plastic curtains, but no one showered after gym because most of us were girls. We weren't exercising really. We were just there just because we need the credit. But no, we were just like, we're not sweating. Like, we just like sprayed on body spray and went back to class. Like, it was our like second to last class of the day. We're not going to take a shower.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, so I swam in college, not in high school, but when I was in high school and we had to do the showers, there would be a teacher there that would check your shoulders to make sure they were wet when you came out of the shower.
That is intense, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hated it. Absolutely. It was horrific. Getting naked in front of a bunch of girls when you are, I
self-conscious.
Agree. I totally agree that that's not a natural, like, we're snapping towels. I think though, the reason that was okay for me is they were trying to make a very stark comparison where these girls can be free with their bodies and their sexuality and everything. And here's Carrie doesn't even know and thinks that maybe washing herself with soap and getting a little turned on that the devil has now cursed her and she's going to die, I
mean, maybe even just being naked in front of other people. Like her mom, I think later says something about that, doesn't she? She's like, yeah, like just taking a shower in front of other people is enough to sin,
Yeah, because her mom was very adamant, like, you cannot shower with the other girls. You're just going to skip that part. But Carrie never did. So she's like, I'm not going to class dirty.
Yeah. She was like, I don't want to smell bad.
Because that PE teacher works them out.
Yeah.
Can I just
Holy
say
shit.
I love her. I love her. I love she beats the shit out of those kids. I love that she's like, fuck you, you're going and you have to run and jog, and she works them out real hard. And I love how I loved at the end, I jump around, sorry. Kara knows this already though,
Yeah.
where she literally has tears in her eyes when she sees that she won the homecoming queen or the prom queen, and like the joy she must feel. She was feeling it with her and for her. And I just thought she was fantastic.
I loved her too.
Me too. Me three.
She was she cared a lot. And you could feel that. There was like this motherly, you know, kind of a thing happening. And God, there's so many emotions to feel at any given moment. Because on one hand, you're like, what a nice fucking lady. Like, good for her. She's trying really hard to stick up for Carrie. And in the same breath, you can be like, this is a fucking disaster. Like, I think just everybody knows enough, even if you've had like a tiny bullying experience, you know enough to know that this type of intervention can make things so much worse. So you're like, so the whole time I'm watching this movie, at least maybe I should just speak for myself, I'm like, oh my God, the involvement of her like sticking up so hard for Carrie is nice, but it's making it like even worse for Carrie because there's like this, you know, like now she's even more in the spotlight, and there's like more of an emphasis on what you guys did to her, and you need to like be nice to her. And like, it almost is just, oh God, it makes it even worse. You're like, please just, I mean, yes, thank God somebody's trying to whip these kids into shape, but God, can we just like move on? Like, it's so nerve-wracking.
I see what you're saying. No,
okay,
no,
I was
no.
gonna be like, am I alone in that?
No,
okay.
no, I love that they got punished because I feel like they so rarely do in movies, but you're absolutely right. You're punishing these girls, and honestly, these girls are just going to hate Carrie more. The majority of them, besides Sue, aren't going to go, wow, I was a dick and I deserve this. They're going to be like, screw Carrie even more, right? So yeah, I could totally see what you're saying.
Which you see, I feel like, with Chris. Like, she's like, I hate Carrie White.
Which
like,
is ridiculous.
I know, so dumb.
Yeah, this movie's freaking phenomenal. And if you love that movie, I highly recommend the musical because it's just more well-rounded. I think it's because it's an extra hour longer. So you get to like really invested in each character. Like even Chris, like you fucking hate Chris in the musical too.
Okay.
Is this like live musical, or is there like it's on like Netflix or Prime or something? Or are you talking about like going to see a show?
So I saw it illegally because someone put it on YouTube.
Not me.
Right.
I wasn't trying to call you out.
No, but there's actually a lot of amateur ones on YouTube. Like I've seen high school productions of this musical, and it premiered in 2012, like off Broadway, and it was phenomenal. Like it got rave reviews. It was great, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like you can listen to it on Spotify. But if you love the movie, you'll really love the musical because each character is just so well rounded. You see all sides of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have Chris. We fucking hate her. You know, she's a fucking bitch. But in the musical, Sue calls her out and she's like, grow up. And it's just a moment, but you see Chris like, oh shit. Like, people think this of me. That's not cool. But then she's like, but this is how I was raised. I'm going to live my life. Like, she can't
double down.
She has that tunnel vision because all she wants is revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it culminates into this, you know, this big thing that she decides to pull a prank on Carrie. And it's like, she does it, and she does it not knowing whether or not it's going to give her the satisfaction that she's looking for. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
That sounds great. You know, something I noted here is that the movie, the sets reminded me of a play. I always point to my notes like I need to prove that I really wrote this. Some of the ways, like especially in the house, in Carrie's house, it reminded me of a play. And I thought to myself, wow, this would be a really good play. Oh, so that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that.
Interesting.
The soundtrack, though, my God. Mwah. Margaret, Oscars. Margaret, Oscars.
Yeah. Are there like famous people who play that people would like know of in these roles?
They're famous in the Broadway world.
Okay.
But the woman who played Margaret White, I forgot her name. I think it's Maisie. I don't remember her last name. She passed away recently from cancer.
Oh.
And but she played like the best Margaret White. She was like she could just instant like switch, like, oh, I'm this nice woman, my dear Carrie, I love you. And then she's like, bow your head and pray, woman. Like, like phenomenal. But no, I don't think any, like, I don't think any of you guys would know, like, the people that were in that play. Like,
yeah.
It was off Broadway too. So,
okay. Just while we're on the subject of Margaret, I had read something to the effect of like, she thought that her part was so fucking over the top that she thought it was like a comedy. And Brian De Palma had to like pull her aside and be like, no, this is a horror movie. It's not even intended to be like, because then she was like, oh yeah, but it's like a dark comedy, right? Like, that's what you're going for. And he was like, no, like you're just this over the top fanatic person. And I don't like, for me personally, like, I don't love her performance sometimes. Like, I think it's, I don't know, it just doesn't hit for me. But I think maybe that's why I feel like she didn't come in with the understanding, like, this is supposed to be scary. So there's not like I think there's moments of her being really scary, but not like, I don't know, all the way through in the movie.
100%. You know, I love crazy, scary religious people. It's one of my favorite things. And so you have definitely seen better. I think she had moments. She definitely had moments, and then she had moments that were off. I agree with that.
Yeah, it just seems like a fundamental maybe misunderstanding of like what he was going for. And I also have this, so like adding to her character is the fact that none of the Bible passages in the film are real. For example, she quotes Genesis chapter 3 to say that sexuality is evil. That chapter is actually the story of Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruit. The Bible doesn't say anything. The mother says it does, which actually added to the experience for me after I read that, because I was like, ooh, okay, now I see. Like, she's a fanatic, but she's also seems to just be like way off. Like, I don't know why, but that brought in a lot more of like the mentally ill side of things for me. Like, I was like, oh, this isn't even it, right? And like the statue in the little room isn't even Jesus. Like, I wrote down something about like, what's with creepy Jesus? Because
sexy ripped Jesus, you mean?
With the eyes. With those eyes. I like how you said that. Creeped me out. I didn't realize it wasn't actually Jesus, because I'm not super like familiar with religious imagery until I looked it up. And apparently it's Saint Sebastian, which I have a little blurb on. And Felicia, you probably honestly know more about this than I do, because I was like, this has got to mean something, right? I looked it up and it doesn't really have much to do with any of, at least that I can see on first look, any of the themes within the movie. So like, I don't know why, except for the fact that maybe she also thought it was Jesus. You know, like I was like, I don't know. That kind of makes sense that she's like totally over the top about this thing that she doesn't even understand, you know?
I remember Saint Sebastian being mentioned in the book though.
Oh, okay.
But it was a picture. I don't think it was a statue.
Is it the same way in the book though, too, that she quotes stuff that like doesn't exist in the Bible?
Yeah. She does say the first sin was intercourse, it's not in the Bible.
Okay.
And she calls her titties dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows, yeah.
Yeah. But
No, I don't remember any. I don't know. I don't remember the significance of Saint Sebastian either.
Well, if we're yeah, okay, so I read a little thing that he's commonly mistaken for Christ, but specifically if they're talking about Saint Sebastian in the book and it wasn't just a mistake for the movie.
Well, I'm not saying it's a mistake for the movie. I'm saying it's a mistake for her character. Probably in both. That she thinks she's this like religious fanatic, but she doesn't even know the material that she's pulling from. Just like misquoting the Bible. You could see her just picking up this thing and being like, yeah, that's Jesus, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm thinking if Saint Sebastian was a martyr who refused to renounce his faith and was tied to a tree and shot with arrows, hence his emancipated body hovering over Carrie's prayers. I think that does make sense. If her mom is locking every time she thinks that she is, overcome with Satan or sinning or anything like that, that she throws her in a closet to prayer to Saint Sebastian, who is a martyr who refused to renounce his faith, I think that works.
Totally.
As someone who you should look up to and try to be.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. The blurb that I read didn't have anything to do with that. It was like, he was a martyr, he was killed and shot with arrows, and for some reason now he's like linked with athletes, like current day. So I was like, I don't know what any of this has to do with.
Maybe it's all about keeping your faith. And now if we're flipping it to athletes, I can do this. I'll pray to Saint Sebastian, who was able to keep his faith through the most trying time of his life. Maybe.
I think Sebastian, please bless my layups.
Yes, exactly.
Sexy Saint Sebastian.
Dude, I was too distracted by those creepy eyes. I was like, this
really?
Jesus is looking at you.
I want to say I did love this moment. So some of the music was wonky for me, but then it reminded me, a lot of movies back in those days did this. And I always think of that, God, who's the guy that goes with the Sundance Kid? So-and-so and the Sundance Kid.
Butch Cassidy.
Movie. Butch Cassidy, yes. And the raindrops are falling on my head. In the middle of this whole thing, they're like, woohoo, we're on a bike. That's the same kind of vibe I got from this kind of walkie music. But something I did really like that I thought was cute was the banter between the three guys looking for the tuxedo. I just fucking really enjoyed that whole little scene with them.
There's too many ruffles. I'm not wearing ruffles.
And then they have him like try on the t-shirt, like the tux t-shirt. All of that was really good. And something again that Don Mancini had said, it was like, there's kind of an experimental nature to what Brian De Palma did, I think specifically in this movie. And it, like, that's one of the things is that he speeds up this interaction between the three guys. And it happens like once in the entire movie. It feels kind of isolated and weird, but it like works. And it's just him just throwing stuff at the wall and being like, what works? How do I showcase some things and play with it? And I would have probably hated it without that lens. And then again, viewing it through that lens, I was like, yeah, it's nice to see some artistic, creativity in this movie.
Agreed.
I was waiting. I was like, curated it? Or
some of the other dialogue was like, I was like, you're killing me. This is so bad.
Like what? What didn't you like?
Like when I should have written down a second example, so I only have one. But when they're driving and it's Chris and Billy, right?
Your favorite guy, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't help. And this other car like pulls up and they're like talking shit to each other. And he's like, suck on this, and like throws him a beer. Cause he's like, hey man, throw me one of those beers. And then he like throws it to him. He's like, suck on this. And then John Travolta's like, all right. Like, just like, okay, I don't know what's happening. This is so weird. And then her calling him a dumb shit like 18 times in the next, I just feel like it's one of those moments where it was like, they're just ad-libbing. Like they don't know what to say. So they just keep going to the same shit. You dumb shit. It's like that kind of stuff that I felt like was not as good as it could be.
See, I kind of felt the opposite because I was very awkward. I still am, but I was very awkward in high school. And sometimes you just say the same thing over and over because I don't know why you're fixating on that. It's like you have ADHD and you're just like hyperfixation. I'm just going to keep saying the same thing and try to look cool. Like, all right, yeah. Like, so for me, it was like, oh, that's funny. They're also awkward. Like they're these two popular people and they're like, but they're also awkward, like, because they're teenagers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah,
Were
and
you
I have
awkward as a teenager?
Tawny was just a fucking baller.
No,
As a teenager, she
no.
walked in, popped
Obviously.
her collar. She popped her collar. I don't know. I think,
right.
yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, I agree with Carrie that it didn't bother me. And I just think I have this idea, maybe because I have teenage daughters, of teenage boys. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably exactly how they are. They're so awkward and they're trying to impress. They're trying to impress the girls, and it's so stupid and awkward.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I can see what you're saying too, as far as the dialogue.
Yeah, I think I just was like prepared for them to be more sinister than they were. Like, because they are sinister in their actions, but then it's like, you know, you've got this bumbling dialogue and yeah, does that make sense? Like they're maybe not all their actions, especially on the part of Billy. Like, because half the time he's a fucking idiot, and then the other half the time he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill an animal. You're like, ugh, these two things just don't like gel.
I think with that, I totally see what you're saying. And I think with that, he did not seem sinister to me, zero.
Yeah.
Like the whole killing of the animal, if they're far, I mean, and I don't know, he made it seem like, you know, like, oh, I'm a hillbilly bumbling sort of idiot is how they were making it seem. If they kill animals and slaughter animals, if they have a farm, if they live in the country, if this is kind of what they wouldn't, I don't think they would think twice about it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not from that. I remember when I was growing up where we lived in Northern California, there was farmland and then there was like the suburbs, you know, kind of, you know, meeting. And I had a friend and I remember I went over to her house and outside her room, there was like just this little, there was like this, I don't know, this little post. And she was like, oh yeah, that's where my dad kills the cows and the pigs or something. I think this is the last time I hung out with her. But it was like they just, you know, just slaughter. And so that's what made me think that maybe if they are around this a lot, it's not a big deal. But he didn't seem sinister. What he was doing was not cool, but he seemed like he didn't give a shit. He was just whatever she wanted. Here, put the blood. He doesn't know who Carrie is. He, you know, he just wanted to get laid.
Yeah, you're right. But he is willing to do some real fucked up shit.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. She is the queen, evil, nasty.
She's like, run her over. Like,
she's going to run her over.
I know. I was like, oh my God.
Jeez.
It was bad before. Now we've taken it to homicide.
You are going to commit homicide. Yes.
Crazy. But she gets it. No way.
She gets it. How did you
guys like that? I'm sorry, Felicia. You go ahead.
I was so happy.
Now she ate an olive. Okay, so I'll say. How did you guys like that spinning frame of a shot when they roll the car? They took the actual shot of them in the car and just spun it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
In post-production, like they were just like, they didn't like actually flip the car or anything.
Yes.
Did they spend all their money on the pyrotechnics?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I say that with zero authority or research. But
they definitely didn't spend it on the wild hose or the whole scene in the auditorium. There was not any money spent there.
You're right. And they got to the car flip and they said, you know what? We're out of money. Okay, just flip it and post.
Do your best. I believe in you. You're paid by the day.
So funny.
I believed hairspray was involved so that their hair didn't move as they were.
Not either. Yeah, some good hairdos.
I mean, well, John Travolta's character, Billy Nolan, is a greaser. So he had grease in his hair. It's fine. It doesn't move. It's
Right. Yes. Makes
perfect
total
hair
sense.
forever.
Oh, I love it. I was fucking heartbroken and I cried. The scene where she was killing everybody because the majority of the people were not laughing at her, right? She said, because when she was looking out, they were like, and even the one guy that was the blonde Tommy, right?
Yes.
With the hair. His friend, right? Yeah. The girl with the hat like hits him, like laughing. She's cracking up, and everyone's kind of like, "What the fuck?" Like no one is laughing except that nasty girl with the jacked up bangs, but she sees it as everyone laughing, and she kills everybody. That shot where she's leaving the auditorium, it's like on fire, and she's alone. Dude, I felt so fucking sad for her. She doesn't realize how many people were actually in her corner. At the end of the day, it was like these 3 assholes.
Fucking ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah.
I do have a question on this because I had read something about I don't know if it was like in the book, and so this is, Kara, maybe where you can shed some light on this, but there was something about the character of the teacher having a problem with, or like not having a problem, but she also wanted to like deeply make fun of her, Carrie. But she felt like an underlying, like it was her duty to protect her. So she did it anyway. And so she actually laughed. But I couldn't really tell in the movie, is she actually laughing or is this like a hallucination of Carrie's?
So in the book, she does laugh, but she stops herself because, and you know, like sometimes we laugh at inappropriate moments. Like I laugh at inappropriate moments. I can't help it, but I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. And so in the book, she was like, Carrie, like, come down, like, I'll help you. But like Carrie's like spinning out of control because she hears laughter and she thinks it's like building and building. And so yeah, no, I don't. In the book, Miss Collins, Miss DeHarden, she doesn't want to pick on Carrie. She's just more annoyed by Carrie in the beginning until she starts helping her.
Oh, okay.
So she's just like, come on, pull yourself together. Like, it's not that deep. It's just high school. But then she's like, oh shit, she really doesn't know. Okay, I got to change my approach now. Because she doesn't want to come off as an asshole either.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, yeah, that's like a really weird thing to want to try to include in this movie. And I wasn't sure if that is what the intent was or if it was supposed to be a hallucination. But I was like, we are not getting all of that context in this one moment where she's, you know, maybe laughing at Carrie. And then I feel like that undermines her character. I like how in this movie, she does want to help. You know?
I have to believe it was a hallucination in the movie because it's so weird. Because everybody is so shocked and disgusted. The teacher there's a moment where she sees what's happening and she's devastated and she thinks that Carrie and her has been duped by all of these teens. And then for her to just go, but fuck it, that's pretty funny. That just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Good one, guys.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah. One part that made me sick, literally sick, was this long ass conversation spinning around this dancing. I literally had to look away. So when her and Tommy are dancing, it's just spinning and spinning. I felt like I was in one of those rides in a carnival. Not that the conversation was bad, but just this choice to spin around them made me dizzy and sick.
So let me tell you how it was made. So that was achieved by placing them on a platform that was spinning in one direction while the camera was like on a track going the other direction. Because I did start to think, man, how are they doing this? This is fast. The way that they're like you couldn't just do it with the camera. There'd have to be something else at play. So both of them are moving at the same time. And I almost think this might be one of my favorite parts in the entire movie because of how I think effective it is at making you so on edge and anxious. And it made me a little sick too. I had to look away. because I sometimes get like motion sickness.
Yeah.
But I love how it's happening right in this moment where he kisses her, tries to kiss her, and she's like nervous, doesn't want to do it. And then they're like talking. And the talking is even frantic. You know, she's like, why did you bring me here? Why am I here? Why did you ask me? Like, she is like throwing questions at him. So the whole thing is very chaotic. But I feel like that's how you would feel as a teenager in this situation. Oh my God, this guy just tried to kiss me. What am I doing? I obviously would like to kiss him back, but like, are they tricking me? You know, my mom's going to be mad. Like, everything is happening as a storm in her brain. So it's just like non-fucking stop. And so this is probably one of my favorite moments because I think they just encapsulated that completely in the movement and the dialogue and everything.
I agree. No, I was wondering when I rewatched it this year, I was like, was that a choice? And like, but hearing you say it, it was very effective because she has been picked on since she was little. And so she's constantly on edge. So of course she'd be like, no, tell me the truth. This is a prank. Like,
yeah,
haha, you're gonna prank Carrie White again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the dialogue. I just didn't like the spinning. But I do agree with what you're saying, that that's how you would feel. Because I feel like that about a lot of the movie. This music and this overdrawn and, you know, the stars in the eyes and all of that is how you would feel as a teenager. I thought they did that really well. I just got motion sick.
Yeah, totally. There is this like weight. There's this very serious weight of this movie that I feel like works really well because you can look at it, the plot, and be like, this is very like simple and kind of like silly. Why would teenagers care? You know, like you grow up, things go on, it doesn't matter. But when you are a teenager, this shit does feel like it's life and death.
Yes.
And I think you forget like that you're watching teenagers like play pranks on each other while you're watching the movie because it feels so fucking intense.
Yeah. I loved the scene when she was getting ready for prom and her mom was in there and like, cause I was starting to feel stressed and he's not going to show. And she's trying to make herself look beautiful and she's struggling with all of this. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. And she was like, they're all going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you say that?
Poor baby.
That is a terrible thing to say to your child.
I thought the scene of her dragging Carrie to throw her in the closet the first time was great. Like it was so like, Sissy Spacek, I just really, really like her. She did such a good job. I did think it took the mom a little bit too long to die. It almost made it.
Oh my God.
It almost made it a little uncomfortable. Like, because Carrie's like hiding. No, it's still happening. Still happening. No, still going on. You know, it's just like very traumatic death. Oh. And then it was even almost ecstatic. Like she was getting, you know, ecstasy from this. And maybe it was supposed to be that way. It was just weird. But I also thought how sad at the end that Carrie did have all these people rooting for her. They did have people that loved her and were doing nice things for her. And she didn't see that because of that prank. And she ended up defending herself against her mom, but ultimately pulling her mom in the room with her and kind of back into that, no, probably my mom was right. And my mom's the only one that loves me. And how sad that is.
Totally. Like, I think that is a great progression of the movie is you have the prank at the school and she realizes none of these kids, well, she thinks in her mind, none of these kids were on my side. Like, fuck all them. Unbridled rage. Then she goes home to the one person who she thinks is gonna like understand her and be comforting. Like she's even like, hold me, like super infantile, you know, moment where she's like, I feel so vulnerable and exposed. Please hold me. And then her mom tries to kill her. And again, we snap to like just fucking, I mean, I think you feel that in this movie. She's just like, I'm fucking done with this. I'm done with all of you. Everyone's dying. Like, goodbye.
Yeah, I felt like in that end, like if she was in the movie, That made no sense. If she was at the prom and everything went well, let's say those people didn't play the prank, everything went well, she went home, her mom was still planning on killing her, she had hidden that knife, that it wouldn't have necessarily ended that way, right? Like maybe she would have controlled her mom's more with her telekinesis. What is it? Telekinesis. And like kind of gotten out of there. But because of the devastation and now her mom, I felt like, and I could be wrong, she couldn't control what was happening with the house. Like, I feel like there was so much from the pain and now from what her mom is doing and from the confusion, the guilt from killing her mom, that just everything started like she couldn't even control it because she's like trying to get into a room almost to keep them safe. But that doesn't happen.
I do think there's like a moment when it flips. Like, because I think in the beginning, she's like mad because that's how I feel as a viewer. I'm like, fucking you too? Are you kidding me? You're my mom. And you're going to have the fucking gall to stab me? But then once she dies, you see this, she switches and she's like,
it's the only one who loved me.
Yeah, she tries to pull her down and get her into the room. Like you're saying, I think that part of it doesn't seem to be like she's doing it. Or if she's doing it, it's an act of like self-punishment or something, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't think that she was mad at her mom. Like, I felt that she was more surprised. Like, I knew you were crazy, did not think you were going to kill me.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like, I have to fight for my survival. So, and then she attacks her mom and then she's like, oh shit, I just attacked my mom. And then all those emotions kind of like, this was the person that loved me. They gave birth to me, always on my side. Yeah, she was crazy, but she was my mom. So
and at this point, does she even think she's crazy anymore? You know what I mean? Like, she probably thinks she's crazy, but she was right. She wasn't right, but she was right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like she was like, surprised, like just shocked. I agree with you, Kara.
I'm just down for revenge. So I'm like ready to be like, yeah, everybody dies.
Revenge.
I do have something to say just when you were talking about her, like watching her die. I also thought that was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Because it did take a long time. I was like, would you just die already? That part did feel like a comedic moment to me unintentionally. I don't think they intended for it to be that way. But I read this thing that when Sissy Spacek was preparing for her character, she isolated herself from the rest of the ensemble and studied the body language of people being stoned for their sins. And she started or ended every scene in one of those positions. Because one of the things that felt comedic to me in this moment was her peeking, like you were saying, like she's like, is she dead yet? But then she changes position and like peeks again. She's like hiding from it. And having that context, I'm like, wow, that's actually like really powerful.
Yeah. Ooh, and that's a good one, Tawny.
They are stoned, like from above. That's another thing, though, that didn't really like make the cut. The idea was to have like it raining down stones into the house. That's why the, ceiling stuff is breaking apart. But apparently it just didn't look good. And so they changed it up. But that's why when she goes to visit the house, it's like little rocks instead of like charred house remains.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
She seemed really committed to this role, Sissy Spacek. She did a ton of shit that I read about that I took it out because it was like too much, but you can go and read more if you want, like just her commitment to the role. Like it was her under the rocks in the hand. She really insisted on being that person instead of a, stunt double, which is neat.
That is really neat.
She's very method.
I guess, I've never read anything about her before, so I had no idea. But yeah, she was like, I'm doing this. I'm in it to win it for this role.
She did so good. Seemed just like when Tommy approached her in the library, like how shy and unsure and like, what the fuck are you talking about? like, well, she's not saying what the fuck you're talking about, but he's like, I want to go to prom, and like, and then how she runs away and she's shy about what she's reading. She's so good.
Yeah.
Can she be a final girl if her arm popped up out? Or the final, yeah.
Yeah. I say yes.
Okay, then she's my favorite final girl.
Top favorite.
Yeah, I love her.
Wow.
I'm a big fan.
Number 1. I actually don't know if she counts as a final girl.
Oh, she doesn't want me to have her as a final girl. Actually.
Well, I'm just saying she is the one who is attacking everybody. You know what I mean? Like
But they attacked her. So like in Final Girls, they're being attacked by people and they kill people and they survive. She might not have survived is the thing.
Right.
But
Unknown.
maybe.
I think that's the thing that I think I've always felt about this movie is I don't disagree with it being in the horror category, but I remember, like I said, my mom explaining to me the plot. She's like, yeah, it's a horror movie. This girl is like, insanely bullied and they drop, pig's blood on her and then she fucking murders everybody. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a horror movie at all to me. That sounds like an awesome revenge movie. And so I think it firmly belongs in the horror category, but I have always felt like this is way more of a satisfying revenge movie, which, I love.
In Stephen King's On Writing, he talks about writing and writing books, and the books he wrote, he talks about how he came up with the idea for Carrie and how he came up with the idea for Carrie's mom, who was they were young and helping people move. And there was this woman that they helped move who had like this giant crucifix and she was super religious. And that kind of was Carrie's mom. And then I think there was someone in school who was picked on that reminded him of Carrie. And so like how all these different pieces and something about telekinesis all came together to create Carrie.
Yeah, I know that there's like a story behind this, but I don't know the specifics of the actual novel. Do you guys know? Because didn't he write it and then he like threw it away?
Yeah, and his wife was like, no. His like, no, this is good. Yeah, he wrote it and then threw it away.
Save the day.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I have some stuff on this. So it is the first Stephen King movie to be novel to be adapted into a movie. I can't remember if I said that already. But he was paid just $2,500 for the rights, which may seem like a small amount, but he has no regrets. He says, I was fortunate to have that happen to my first book. And I think that was like what cemented him in just as a household name of horror writers. So, I mean, he may, owe all of his success to this.
I need to write a horror book now.
Yeah.
It's that book I highly recommend, On Writing by Stephen King. It was so cool just to see how he persevered and how he came up with these ideas and then just things about him and his private life. It was really, really good.
I have one more thing to add just while I think you're looking that up, Felicia,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some more information on that? Okay. So there have been 3 versions of Carrie and a sequel at this point, but this is the only version that Stephen King likes. In fact, when they were planning to remake the 2013 version, he openly asked, the question is why, when the original is so good? King even likes this version better than his own novel. He says it's much better than the book.
I disagree. The book is better.
Interesting.
The book is better, but I still love the movie. The original movie is the best. And I've seen every version and the sequel of Carrie.
Okay.
So, yes, it is the best out of all of them, but the book is a little better.
Okay. I have some book differences, but do you have some off the top of your head, Kara, that you want to?
So I mentioned Mr. Harden, who's Miss Collins, but, so we've all seen Sissy Spacek. She's this beautiful, thin girl, right? She's just a little awkward. in the book, she's a chubby girl. Like, her mom is really overweight. And so Carrie is like, she's kind of a chubby girl. She's got a hell of a lot of acne. The only thing they kept the same was like, she's blonde.
Okay.
But it was like, but you guys chose Sissy Spacek as like
as the person.
Your Carrie. And then I feel like the one of the remakes, the TV movie that was like in 2002 or something, they kind of got it a little better, but they're still skinny people. So it's kind of confusing for me. And they were just like genuinely just beautiful people. They're just awkward.
Yeah, it's that age old, like the glasses and the hair up. Like, she's unattractive. What are we gonna do? Go ahead and have her take off the... Yeah, exactly.
Straighten her hair. She's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, she's supposed to be this awkward... Like, I know that it was the 70s and, like, Hollywood. We don't get to see, like, real things, like, real acne.
Yeah.
Like, real awkwardness. Like, I want to see some movies with, like, the teenagers. Some of them have flawless makeup because they watch YouTube all day. And other people are just like, they're winging it. They don't know. Some days they look Egyptian with all their eyeliner. Like, I want some experimentation. I want some realistic teenagers.
Totally. Because it is always just that CW. Everybody's like made up, like beautiful, like it's ridiculous. And no, all you get in this movie is a mention of pimples. Okay. She's like, I can't eat that pie. I'm going to get pimples. I don't have any, but I might have some if I eat that.
Exactly.
Which I like that they kept that in the movie too, because it's in the book where like she likes, I love sweets, but every time I eat sweets, I get pimples. So when her mom is like, here's this pie, it's homemade, and she's like, it makes me have pimples.
Okay.
So yeah, she wants it because she's a teenager. Why not? But then she's like, well, they already make fun of me.
Yeah.
I found the thing about the thing.
Tell us.
So when King started writing Carrie, he typed 3 single-space pages, crumpled them up in anger, and dumped them in the trash can. He was disappointed in himself. His critics were right. He couldn't write from a woman's perspective. The whole story disgusted him, too. Carrie White was annoying, ready-made victim. Worse yet, the plot was already moving too slowly, which meant the finished product would be too long for any magazine. I couldn't see wasting 2 weeks, maybe even a month, creating a novella I didn't like and wouldn't be able to sell. This is what he states in his On Writing book, in the book On Writing. So I threw it away. After all, who wanted to read a book about a poor girl with menstrual problems? The next day, Tabby, his wife, went to empty the trash can in the laundry room and found 3 crinkled balls of paper. She reached in, brushed off a coat of cigarette ashes, and unwrinkled the pages. When King came home from work, she still had them. You've got something here, she said. I really think you do. So over the next few weeks, Tabby guided her husband through the world of a woman, giving tips on how to mold characters and the famous shower scene. 9 months later, King had polished off his final draft.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a supportive partner.
They're amazing. They have such like a beautiful, amazing relationship. Just the way they talk about each other. They're both writers. They both like critique each other's work. And he, in his book, the way he talks about her, just like madly in love.
That's so cute. And I do like that she gave a little bit of help and insight. But it does seem like the seedling of an idea there wasn't way off, you know?
Right.
Which is cool. I did not ever in one moment stop to think, this feels like a man writing a woman's story.
There was one, let me just tell you this one little thing that he was offered more money to take a different position at the university. He used to be a teacher. Or at the school, to get a different position. It was a promotion. It would pay him $300 extra a year, right? which it says here, not much, but would cover the family's grocery bill for 10 weeks. And so the lure of extra income enticed him. But when he got home, Tabby said, will you have time to write? And he said, not much. And she said, well, then you can't take it. Not fucking supportive. I mean, they're like thinking about groceries for 10 weeks and can we even get by? And she's like, you're a writer. And so you can't take that. We won't get the extra income because you need to focus on your writing. Fuck. That's crazy, man.
Legendary.
Legendary.
Best couple award.
Yeah, power couple.
Damn.
Power writing couple.
Power writing couple.
The only other things that I had for book differences is this is the only adaptation where Miss Collins dies. I think in every other one she survives.
I think I liked that she died because it was painful that she died because she was such an advocate for Carrie. So I think it made it that much more sad that at that moment, Carrie even thought she was in on it. Like she had nobody. It made it just so isolating.
Yeah. And then the only other one that I have that I think is of note is, so in this movie, right, Carrie dies in her home after the confrontation with her mother, but in the book, she stalks Billy and Chris, who attempt to run her down in the road. She blows up the car, and then she collapses in the fields by the road. Sue finds her there and confronts her, letting her know that she was not in on the prank to embarrass her, after which Carrie dies in the fields by the road, which I don't dislike the ending in the movie. But I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, I very much want her to know that Sue and Tommy were not in on it. I need her to know that somebody was on her side. So I like the idea of this ending more. Not that I disliked the ending of the movie.
Yeah, because in the book, because it's kind of, we see it in the movie where like, she comes out of the auditorium or wherever they're having their prom, and then she sees Billy and Chris, and then that scene happens. But in the book, she has already gone home. She's had this confrontation with her mother. Her mother is dead, and now she's back on the street because she's just burning the town down at that point.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So that's when she runs into Chris and Billy, and then she collapses because her mom did attack her. She's losing blood. And Sue like finds her, and then they have that moment together.
I think I want that.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Tawny. I don't dislike the ending of this movie, but now knowing that, I would have really liked her when she dies to know that she was loved by somebody or cared about by somebody.
Yeah, like one of her peers, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't, not everybody, because God, it's again, the push and pull in this movie is really great because her mom is like, everybody's going to laugh at you. They're all terrible. Everybody's fucking sinners, you know? And she's like, not everybody is terrible, Mom. There is good stuff out in the world. And then she has this experience, which makes her revert back the other way. But it's like, you want her to so badly know that not everybody is a total piece of shit.
Yeah. Do you know why they took that out? Why they changed it? No.
I don't.
Yeah, that seems like that would have been a great, satisfying ending.
You know, yeah, I don't know. I can't help but feel like there's something there. I mean, I could be like really overly reading into this, but it feels like there's something there about the religious aspect. Like it felt like they really wanted to bring that back in full circle. And I don't know if they're trying to say like this is her powers unleashed and she doesn't have control over them, or if it's like this is God smiting her because she is too powerful, or like she is of like this godly power, like this miracle, and who fucking knows? I feel like there's a lot of different religious takes that you could have on the ending, and I feel like maybe that's why they went with it. But I'm purely guessing.
Or did they really just want that jump scare?
They love that jump scare.
How do we get this jump scare?
Apparently, audiences fucking loved it too. Like when they screened it and Stephen King going and watching people react to it, like everybody fucking loved that apparently. So they everybody's stoked on it. I feel like now it's not, it's old news for us. Like, got it. The jump scare.
I loved it because I thought she might still be alive. But then they didn't do anything else. So,
what did you guys think about her coming home after all that blood and death and her just taking a bath like it's normal?
Yes, the bath of all things. It would be disgusting. She got real clean in that bath.
Yeah, she did.
Well, because I remember in the book, it said the reason she has a bathtub is because, like, that's the proper way her mom said to get clean. Like, showers are, like, sinful. I don't know why.
Because you can masturbate with shower heads.
Oh.
Maybe.
Did they have those in the 70s?
But, yeah, but it didn't.
I have bad news for y'all. You can also masturbate with, faucet heads. Sorry to ruin that for you, Margaret.
Yeah, is it because way in the olden days they filled up bathtubs with water from the well? I mean, I don't know why that would be, unless it's like bathing. Okay, I'm really stretching this. Like when I think it's like Palm Sunday, just around that Easter time, where you wash the feet of like Jesus washed the feet. Someone washed Jesus' feet and then he washed their feet. If that's maybe biblically, like, why? I know in the Bible times they didn't have shower heads. So
right. Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Interesting.
Why that would be.
Yeah, because I feel like in the book, it's like much more like, oh, this is just pure revenge. Because she's like, I want to watch the world burn. And she doesn't she doesn't take a bath. Like, she's covered in blood until she dies.
Ah.
She is in that prom dress. She's walking around barefoot throughout town. And like, she had this fight with her mother and she's injured. So it's scarier to me. And I think that's why the book is like just better.
I think I would have liked that better too.
Me too. I think I would have liked that better as well.
I like Bloody Carrie. She's on a fucking mission. And I love, let me add this just while we're talking about it, because I love this part, this sequence where everything's fucking burning down and she's just walking out of the thing and walks home, and her position apparently was inspired by Gustave Moreau's 1851 painting, The Study of Lady Macbeth. And so she's like mimicking this stance. We'll post a picture of it on our Instagram.
That's how you see Mary standing a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I liked that it was like this. I don't know. She was like braced for something. Like she was. I just liked it. It made sense. It was like she was not fully understanding what she was doing, but she was like, I'm gonna get these guys out here. I'm gonna get them.
And that scene too in the book is like different. She actually, like, in the book, after the blood's poured on her, she walks off stage, and when she's walking off stage, she trips and falls on her face.
Oh no.
Yeah. So then more people, like, I guess more laughs happen, right? And she walks outside, and that's when she's like, all right, fuck this, and she locks the doors.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So she's already outside.
Yeah. And she's already like been humiliated. She like added insult to injury and like fell on her face. It's your emotions are like, oh my God, like what can she do now? And then it's like, boom, she locks the doors.
Is there the fire hose in the book?
I don't remember if it was a fire hose or just the sprinklers. I think just the sprinklers came on. But then it was the 70s, so they had a band playing at prom.
Yeah.
And the electronics caught on fire from the water. And then everyone got shocked and died. And like the way he describes them shocked was like kind of hilarious to me. It was more realistic. They're just like and then they die.
Oh,
because that's what happens.
That is
electrocuted.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about the end with Sue?
I hated it. Because it wasn't in the book.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
It wasn't in the book, but also it was like kind of cliche horror, like, oh, they got you, but no, it was just a dream. It's okay. But she's still like freaking out. I don't know if like Carrie started that or that was like a trope that was already done in horror films to like kind of psych you out. But yeah, I just didn't like it. I was like, it was unnecessary for me. She doesn't need to be scared of Carrie because it didn't seem like she was scared of Carrie at all throughout this whole process. Even knowing that she had these powers, she wasn't scared of Carrie. She just felt sorry for her.
Yeah. How did you feel about it, Felicia? Other than being excited, obviously, that Carrie might still be alive.
Yeah. I definitely like the ending that Kara's explaining way better. I didn't hate it. I saw it. I didn't think that she was scared. I mean, scared of the nightmare that you would have that someone grabbed you, but I thought it was more the devastation and the guilt. Because mixed with her bringing flowers, as almost like she didn't blame Carrie in her dream for killing all of those people. Like there was some understanding there of what happened and guilt and pain for her. And then Carrie's hand came out and she screamed, which was a jump scare, and she was screaming. And I just saw it as trauma because her mom was just on the phone right before that saying, oh, they say she'll grow out of it because she's young and, all of that. So I just saw it as very, very deep trauma.
Yeah, which is weird because like they're seniors in high school, right? So it's like they're like 17,
Not that
18.
young. Yeah. I won't remember any of that.
I don't think you can say that unless a kid is like 2 or 3, maybe.
Yeah. She's young. She'll grow out of it. She's almost 19 years old. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Don't worry. She'll just block it for many years and then it'll fester like a tumor. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It'll come back later.
Perfect. I don't like this ending either. Mainly because for me, it takes the focus off of Carrie and it puts it on her, Sue. And for some reason, I'm like, this doesn't gel. I think with the story of the movie and the content and all of that, I like the idea that they're trying to sort of get across this like trauma aspect, right? Like seeing and being a part of something like this absolutely would affect you for the rest of your life. I'm on board with that. I just, at the end of this tragic story about Carrie, we're going to like shift the focus and make it about Sue and Sue's life and how Sue's fucked up now. Like, I don't know. That last part I could have done without. I was like, get it out of here. That's not what this movie is about, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. They should have did it the book way.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready to rate this bad boy?
Yeah.
Okay. Kara, again, because you're our guest. You go first.
I love this movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies, like top 5, of course. I still will only give it a 4.5 out of 5, just because it is a little dated. So even though I have nostalgic ties to it, I love it. I can see other people being like, really, this movie? It's not scary, but it scares me. So 4.5, it's not perfect, but it's amazing. Mwah. Chef kiss.
Felicia, do you want to go next?
Yes, I do. I just loved this movie. I was just sitting here just like, fuck, I love this. I don't know what was going on with me. I was not drunk, had not drank any alcohol. I just was loving it. And I'm giving this movie a 4.75.
Man, that's high.
I loved it. I looked at all the other scores I gave and I was like, yeah, this through and through. Yes, there were the wonky music and the, not want to say necessarily dated effects. It looked like low budget effects in some points of it, but I loved it. I loved the characters. I feel pain for Carrie. I thought all of that was very well developed. I think it has wonderful themes around the damage and pain of bullies and othering people and and not being open-minded and accepting people for who they are, giving them a chance, and then crazy religious people. I love it.
Love those crazy religious people.
Yes.
I'm going to give this a 3.9.
Ooh, that's a good score for Tawny. Wow.
Which puts it back to back. We talked about Misery and the new Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where I land. Is I don't think I liked it as much as I did Misery. I don't know why. I just there's something about Misery that I just really, really love. And I gave that a 4. And then the new Candyman, I gave a 3.85. And so I think I liked it between those because I like a lot about this movie. Like I dislike some of the parts, like the acting, dialogue, whatever. It feels a little dated, whatever. But I agree that the characters, the story is strong. The themes are strong. Like all of that is really good. And so you got to give it credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good score for Tawny. It's real good.
That is a good score.
Yeah. It's low compared to your guys's, but I think that, I like it a lot.
Yeah. That's awesome. I was a little nervous. What you were?
Where'd you think I was going?
I was kind of nervous. I was gonna think you weren't gonna like it because of some of you really like practical stuff that they do, but so a lot of it wasn't that well done, so I was just a little bit nervous in some of the acting and stuff. I was like, oh, I wonder if Tawny's gonna like this movie. So that's cool. I'm glad you liked it. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Kara, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for bringing this movie to us. We would have watched it eventually, but probably not for a while. You know what I mean? And I'm just so happy I got to experience this and that I got to meet you more, me personally, because I know Tawny knows you and loves you. And thank you for the support of for the show. And we absolutely love you, and we love this movie. So thank you so very much. And I know you're on Instagram. I personally love following you. So if you want to holler out your page and get some other people to follow you, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I have to say I'm definitely pretty funny. So if you want to follow me.
So funny. Yes.
And if you don't like my content, I do post a lot of TikToks in my Instagram feed that I think are funny and you might think are funny. So my Instagram handle is @KaraInAmerica because I was Kara in Korea and then I moved back to America. So.
I love it.
I keep it simple.
Yeah. There's nobody else in the world I would have wanted to talk about this with other than you.
Yeah. I feel so special.
So thank you for being on.
Yes, thank you for having me. I mean, I haven't watched every episode, but I have been a fan since the very first episode. And I love seeing your guys' podcast grow. It's like, I don't know. I feel a little pride. I'm like, my little Tawny, all grown up.
Yes. Kara's one of my biggest supporters in my entire life. So, and also cheers to the fact that we now have 7,500 downloads.
7,500 downloads, right? Yes.
Cheers.
There's a big ass jug of water, but my martini is gone. So next week, we are going to continue on the Stephen King train, and we are doing Christine. So super excited about that. If you want to find us, go to twochicksandahorrorflick.com. From there, you can find our Instagram page, our Facebook, our blog, our Discord community, where we love having people in there talking to us. So please go join that. It is free. What else, Tawny?
If you want to support the show, we would appreciate you to subscribe, rate, and review, and maybe share it with a friend.
And pay for the Patreon.
Yes. And we do have a Patreon.
Be a patron. Patreon.
Yes.
Thank you, Kara. That's awesome.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you again, Kara, for being here with us. And we hope you guys have such a good night. No nightmares.